Hello guys, my name is Colin and this is Colin Talks Crypto. I wanted to bring you this really cool chart that I just found. This chart was created by an account named the_JDK99 on X, JDK Analysis. He's got 6,260 followers. Let's see how big we can make his account. Basically, he's taken a logarithmic chart of all the past 3+ Bitcoin cycles, including the current cycle, taken a look at how long each cycle was, and kind of came to a zone of both time and price of where the Bitcoin price could end up this cycle. This chart is measuring the distance from halvings to peaks, broken down into different color zones. You have from the bottom of the price cycle to the halving event in yellow. You have from the halving event up till the cycle top or the peak in a kind of green color. And then you have a pinkish color from the cycle top down to the bear market bottom and repeat. Specifically on this chart, we're taking a look at it from the cycle low, so the beginning of the yellow box, to the end of the cycle high, the end of the green box. So what do we see? On cycle 1, we have 24 months from the cycle low to the top. 24 months elapsed from the bottom to the top. Cycle 2, we have 28 months from the cycle low to the price top. Cycle 3, we have 33 months from the cycle low to the cycle top. Now, what do you notice about that? You notice, if you're like me, that there's about 4 months increase between each cycle. Being conservative, right? Like here's 4 months increase, here's a 5 months increase. You could be so bold, I'm not going to do that here, but you could be so bold to say, well, 6 months would be the next logical progression of the extending cycles. And that would put this at 39 months. But I've taken the more conservative approach because I prefer to take profits and not miss the cycle top. So I'm going to say, let's just hypothesize if we add another 4 months to this. It's pretty much what it's been doing. That brings us to 37 months. Now, what is 37 months measured from the cycle low? Because that's how this chart is laid out. Well, 37 months from the cycle bottom, right here, which was November 22nd, takes us to a date of December 22nd, 2025, about 3.5 months from now. And I'm just going to read this to you because I think I worded it pretty concisely here. I said, extrapolating the extending Bitcoin cycles, where each has been 4 months longer than the previous, the current cycle could last 37 months from the low of the cycle, November 22nd, and this would put the next cycle top around December 22nd, 2025. Now, if we did take 5 months, this would be a 38-month from the bottom to the top, and that would take us to January 22nd, 2026. And if we were so bold, I'm not going to do that here, but if we were so bold to take, like I said, a 6-month increase, a 39-month distance from the cycle bottom to the cycle top, and that would take us to February 22nd, 2026. So the range of possibilities looks to be December 22nd to February 22nd, but I'm very much leaning to the conservative side of things, not trying to miss the top. Anything is always possible. And you shouldn't be trying to time the exact top anyways. That's a fool's errand. I think the realistic goal for any trader should be try to capture, with some DCAing, the top 20% of the cycle top. If you did that, you'd be a god among traders, as well as buying in at the bottom 20% of any bear market low. You're never going to time that bottom. So give yourself like a reasonable expectation of performance. And I think that the top 20% and the bottom 20% are exceptional performance. If you can capture that, you are doing better than 99% of people out there, most likely. To further the validity, the potential validity of this chart, we have Peter Brandt, legendary trader Peter Brandt of Bitcoin Live, and he's been around trading since 1975. This guy is a veteran among veterans, a lot of experience. And he says, in my opinion, this chart most captures the most likely scenarios for the price of Bitcoin. I guess we didn't get into the price. I'll show you that in a second. And then I posted my kind of remake of the chart, adding the 37-month hypothesis of what that might look like. And Peter then said, I'm enjoying this conversation with people who want to think their way through the problem. So he likes this chart, and that's a good validation from someone who has been in the game for a long time. He calls out a lot of crappy charts, and for him to validate a chart is really a nice gesture. It's saying a lot. Now, price-wise, if it's a 37-month from bottom to top, like we're kind of guessing and extrapolating, what could that mean for the Bitcoin price? And I want you to take this with a grain of salt, but the answer is approximately $200,000. This kind of black line right here, except a little bit above it. And that would be a 37-month peak. Now, if we went into January or we went into February, maybe it's 210,000, maybe it's 220 or 230,000, the further you go. But you can see that the logarithmic regression lines, this upper red boundary and this lower green boundary, they decrease in amplitude. They decrease in velocity over time. So you're getting both in terms of time and extended cycle, but you're also getting a diminishing returns in terms of price every cycle. And that's further illustrated here. You can see right above this hand, from the first cycle, we had a 60,000% increase from bottom to top. In the second cycle, we have a 10,000% increase from the bottom to the top. In the third cycle, we have just a 2,000% increase from the bottom to the top. And so what could that mean for this cycle? The date appears to be as soon as December 22nd, 2025. Could go as late as February per this chart. I'm just kind of showing you this chart. And there are lots of different models, as you're starting to see. So we look at all of them and then we kind of glean from them. And that's how I do it anyways. I look at all of them and I go, okay, so what's the range that they're all kind of pointing to? I'm not really that focused on the date. Like the exact date doesn't mean a lot to me. The 22nd, I don't care. It could be the 18th of December. It could be right on Christmas. Doesn't matter. But the range and what all the different charts kind of paint the picture of gives me at least a couple of months to hone in on. I'm happy if I can get it down to the month that it happens. I mean, that would be amazing. That would be up there with capturing the top 20% of the move. So now that we have both the time estimate and the price estimate, approximately December, late December, and approximately $200,000, what would that mean? I just wanted to kind of cross-reference that with the global M2 money supply as it relates to Bitcoin. Well, that would mean a couple things. First of all, it would mean that this massive correction right here that we've kind of been wondering if it's a top, and I'm not sold that it's not a top. I think it is possible. But for the chart that we just looked at to be true, this can't be the top, the final top. This could be a sub-peak, but it would mean that the price would continue up into December, way up like this, making new all-time highs as far as global M2 goes, and as far as Bitcoin goes when it gets there. So this would not be the final top if this chart is correct, because you can't make it to December 2025 on the global M2 chart without making a new peak here. And if we slide over a little bit, here's 2026 on the right side. So we would have to be way up like this in terms of Bitcoin and in terms of global M2. So maybe this is a clue that this isn't the top, but I'm not willing to make that guess just yet. I'm going to, as I said, when we get toward this range high, be looking at a basket of metrics to cross-check things, because I'm not going to rely on just one chart. I'm not going to rely on just the global M2. I'm not going to rely on just this Bitcoin cycle chart. I'm not going to rely on any one metric. As we get to this range and above, I am going to have my antenna up, and I'm going to be looking at a lot of stuff. I'm going to be looking at the CBBI, which is a basket of 9 metrics condensed into one score. I'm going to be putting extra emphasis on the Pi Cycle Top indicator. I'm going to be looking at the Bitcoin search term results on Google. I'm going to be looking at the Coinbase app rank in the App Store. I'm going to be looking at the Tether dominance chart, inverted, logarithmic, and with that trend line, and I'll show you that in a future video. It looks very compelling as to perhaps hinting at the next top and where it might be in terms of time. And there's several more indicators and metrics and charts and moving averages like that I'm going to all be taking a look at. So when things look overheated is when I take profits, not when a forecasted date or price target is reached. I look at the overheatedness of the market. And that's what we're going to do on this channel. And that's what I will continue to do. But I wanted to bring you this chart because I thought it was beautifully drawn. I mean, it's an elegant masterpiece. This would make a great, just a poster for the wall. It's just beautiful. But it also looks useful. And I want to hone in on the end, December 22nd, possibly, for this cycle with about a $200,000 price target. All right, guys, I hope this was useful. Please share, like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.